Okay, so today I want to talk to y'all about the power of faith. Even when it feels like we only have a small amount left to hold on to, literally when God makes a promise, he isn't just saying something he might fulfill. He's giving us his word, and guess what? He never breaks it. So sometimes all we need is faith, as small as a mustard seed, to see those promises come alive in our lives. Y'all remember the story in 1 Kings chapter 17? We see a beautiful example of this. Okay, so let me break it down to you for those that don't know the story. It's basically about the story of a widow who only had a handful of flour and a little bit of oil to her name. Like, that's all she had in the kitchen. I'm talking, she barely had enough to survive, let alone provide for her child. Now, y'all remember those struggle ramen noodles we used to eat back in college years? She had that. Okay, so there was this prophet named Elijah who was ride or die for God. He knew his assignment and he was obedient to it. The Lord basically told him to pull up on his shorty out in Zarephath because she had a cute little Airbnb set up for him to stay comfortably. So Elijah pulls up to the spot, thirsty, hangry from the journey, and he see this woman outside doing hard manual labor. I'm talking INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? Yeah, that kind of labor. So, you know he had to be hangry because he didn't even greet her. He didn't even say, hey, how you doing today? He simply asked for food and water, and that was it. So, the widow literally had nothing but breadcrumbs and a little bit of flour left and a couple drip drops of oil left in a jar. And she was basically out there gathering wood when he pulled up just to create one last meal for her and her son. And then she was going to unalive herself. Then Elijah was so smooth with it, right? Knowing he was about to call on God to perform a miracle for this woman, he was like, hey, use what you have and feed me a small portion of what you made, and we Gucci. So here she go, doing what she was told by the man of God. And then boom, because of her obedience, Elijah stated in between bites, because she could cook, honey, that her jar of flour will not be used up and the jug of oil will never run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land. This was God's promise to her. Okay, so moral of the story. All she needed was the smallest amount of faith to believe that God would show up and show out, and he did. And her flour and oil never ran out, just like God promised. Sometimes it feels like our lives are running on empty, fully depleted. This could be a lack of energy, resources, or even hope. But you have to remember, God has made each and every one of us promises, just like he did that widow. He promises to provide. He promises to heal. He promises to strengthen. And he promises to guide. And guess what? He's still faithful to those promises today. So if your faith feels small right now, honey, remember that God can take even the smallest seed of faith and grow something amazing. Still don't believe it? Y'all remember back in the book of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20? You know, when Jesus said, that if we have a faith as small as a mustard seed, we can move mountains. So trust that he will show up, and not only will he fulfill his promises, but he will do so abundantly. So let your heart rest in assurance that God's word never fails and his love for you never ends. Believe that he will show up and show out just like he said he would, and just like he did for the widow.